Everything we have done so far has been about building the plan, resourcing the plan, making sure that the calendars are up to date, and then we're ready. The plan is built. That's not where project stops. Project will allow you to use your project to monitor progression throughout, so that you can use this as a working file. It's not just a plan, it's a plan that you then use to control and monitor and watch as you go through the project. The first thing we would do at this stage, before we do anything else, is to actually move the project to its correct start date. And when we started building the project, we chose the 1st of January, so the first of the year, just as an arbitrary date while we built the plan. Now that we're ready to roll, we can move the start date to the actual start date for our project. In order to do that, we go to the project information and change the start date. Now, the only thing that will be affected by the change of the start date and will not react to the change of the start date is if you have any constraints that hold a particular task to a particular date. Those tasks will be held back in January 2013. So I'm going to move my actual start date to the 1st of August. It was much later in the year than we were originally planning, but this is the real start date. Now you can use this ability to change the start date on plans to pick up old projects and reuse them. So you open the project, do a save as, and then change the start date. Or you can use it for some of the training files. It may be that you're following this course much further down the line time-wise, perhaps 2014, and you'll need to change the start date of all the exercise files, practice files, the working files, to make them match the current time that you're working with. So we're changing the start date at the moment for our bedroom project to August the 1st, 2013. When I say OK, all the tasks will move, and there's not been anything that hasn't moved. You can see the blue ones are the ones that have been changed, which is pretty much every date in the project. And if there are any calendar occurrences in August, such as the plumber not being available or the decorator not being available, they will now have an effect on how long their tasks take. Having now moved the My Bedroom forwards, I'm actually going to do a save as and call it My Bedroom August. That way I know I'm dealing with the plan that was in August. So now that's saved, we're ready to start using project file as a recording document for progression. If your project that you wish to move forwards actually does have a lot of deadlines and constraints within it, then there is another way of moving the project, and that's to go to the project ribbon, choose Move Project, set the new date from the little drop down here, and this will move the deadlines, assuming you leave the tick in place. So if we're moving the whole project forward by 7 months, then all the deadlines will move forward by 7 months. So that's a useful method if you happen to have a lot of deadlines. Having moved the project to its correct start date, before we can start using this file as a recording document, we need to save where we're at the moment so that we've got something to measure against. No point in recording in here progression if we cannot then compare that progression to where we plan to be. And in order to do that, we need to save the baseline. The baseline is where we said we would be, so that's where the plan is at the moment. To set the baseline, we again go to the project ribbon, come across to Set Baseline, and there's a little drop down arrow of set the baseline or even clear the baseline. So if you happen to have set the baseline accidentally and you effectively want to reset the baseline, then what you do is you come in and clear the baseline and then come back and set the baseline. You can see here when you hover that set the baseline says it's going to take a snapshot of your schedule as it stands at the moment, allowing you to compare really actuals against planned. So set baseline. Here's my option box. I want to set the baseline, and there are actually 10 baseline options. So you can save more than one baseline as you go if you need to compare to different points. Or we can set an interim plan, which allows you to store a set of values of where you are now to compare back to. But we're going to set the baseline for the entire project or for selected projects. Well, it's for the entire project, but you could just set the baseline for selected projects, in which case you would need to select the projects before you came in here. So I'm going to leave that as entire project and then OK. Now nothing will appear to have happened but it has now stored a set of values, which are the cost values, the dates for each task, the duration of each task, the resources used for each task at this point in time. So the baseline is saved. Now there is a quick snapshot box called the project statistics that will give you a summary of where you are now. And this is accessed through project information on the project ribbon, then statistics down here at the bottom. And in here, we get a current, a baseline, an actual, and a variance. So that's where we currently say we're going to start and end, and our baseline says we're going to start and end in the same place. That's because we haven't actually started recording any progress yet. There is no actual start date because we haven't started yet, and there's no actual finish date. Therefore, there's no variance between what we said and the baseline. Same with the duration, the work, and the cost, so the three main elements of each task. Currently, this project will last 29.15 days, and it will require 202.67 hours of work, and it's going to cost $13,757 just to decorate my bedroom. Well, rebuild nearly. And the baseline figures are the same, the actuals are zeros, and the remaining are the same as the current because we've not actually started doing any of the work, so therefore none of the costs have been accrued or used up, none of the work has been done, and none of the duration has elapsed. So this is a nice little summary box that you can refer to at any point you like, just to get a snapshot of where you are in the project. Obviously, we are at the beginning. So we've created our file. That's taken a long time, but we've got the plan in place. We've set the project start date, and we've saved a snapshot of our plan, which we've called the baseline, that we can then measure ourselves against at any point. We're ready to start using the file to mark progression throughout the project.